everyone! スパーク道場 YouTube チャンネルです。本日のパートナーは
トレーナーのたくまです。
よろしくお願いします。さて、今日のトピックはですね、成長が早い生徒と遅い生徒の違いは一体何なのかというトピックなんですが、スパーク道場では生徒のことをトレーニーと呼んでいるんですが、いろいろなバックグラウンドや英語コミュニケーションレベルのトレーニーがいる中で、上達が早い生徒と遅い生徒、その違いは一体何なのかについて本日はお話ししたいと思います。So, Takuma, what do you think about this topic? What is the difference between quickly developing or accelerating trainee versus someone who cannot really train at the rate that they want?
I think what comes to mind very quickly to me is the amount of different things that the trainees try in terms of training. So I believe that there are many ways to, let's say, train your listening comprehension, but for each person, there's a best way, whether it's because it helps them the most, whatever the training is, helps them with their issue, their personal specific issue the most, or it could be something as simple as whatever content they're using is more interesting for them. So I think a lot of trainees who try one thing and it doesn't work out, and look out for different ways to train the same skill, listening comprehension for instance, will sooner or later find something that really helps them. For example, I've had a trainee who would be listening to first, the trainer would advise them to try out something very casual, train your listening comprehension by watching something like Friends. And they would watch it, but they don't find it very interesting or maybe not for them. So they would go on and look for other content, whether it's maybe the news or something more specifically relatable for them. And once they find it, they're hooked on it, and naturally they can train their listening comprehension that way because they spend more time training.
Right. Yeah, what we try to sort of encourage is self-learning, so it's not sustainable for somebody to be told constantly, do this or do that. We're not going to be your life coaches. I mean, we can lifetime coaches, but ideally we want our trainees to be able to learn on their own and find materials on their own and know for themselves what they're interested in and what they're not. So I found that at Spark Dojo we do mentoring once every 3 months, so we sit down and check the progress of each trainee. And I found that trainees who have their own action plan and own ideas, I want to do this, or I want to try this material, what do you think about it? They're the ones who are most engaged in their own growth. So definitely trying new things, finding material that fit for you is, I think, key. So do you have any other ideas?
Another thing is that we have lessons, we do training face-to-face, right? And those that really take the feedback that they receive from the trainers very openly, and they welcome the feedback, they really think about it and try to work with it. For instance, at Spark Dojo we always try to provide the information, the feedback that lays out what they did wrong or what they could improve on, and then we try to provide some ways to correct it or try to improve something. And the trainees who do that momentarily, like in the next drill they would already implement that. Those are the trainees who really take feedback and seriously and try to work on it right after. So those trainees, definitely, they learn quickly.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's two components to that. One is openness to feedback. So as adults, we don't really get critical feedback on a day-to-day basis. So it might be a little jarring to get negative or critical feedback. But being open to receiving that kind of feedback is, I think, one important thing. And the second is, as you said, being flexible enough to be able to quickly implement it and just try it, test it. Maybe it is effective, maybe it's not. And then if it's not, you and the trainer or you yourself can look for other ways to improve that weak point.
It should always be two-way. So if you don't agree or if you have questions about the feedback, you can always ask, like, do I understand it correctly? Because maybe that's not something that I thought would be the right way to do things.
Sure, yeah, PDCA. Okay, in contrast, what type of students or trainees don't improve that quickly?
I would say the trainees who give up easily.
Oh.
For instance, they would try some training, they say, oh, I don't know if I like this training, and they just don't do it. It's okay if they mention it and they try something new, but if they just, say, maybe this is not the right training for me, maybe it's hard for me to improve my listening comprehension skills, and they make their own judgment about whether to continue or not. It's not something that happens overnight or even over a week. A lot of things take months to improve on. So it's kind of something that you need to keep doing. And there's no miracle in learning a new language or becoming better at communication. We communicate as humans all the time, but some people are much better than others. But if you train, I believe that there are always rewards that would come sooner or later. So you just have to keep trying. But people who give up easily, they're not doing any good.
Yeah, definitely. I think the trend, especially in Japan recently, for any kind of training, whether it be physical or mental, has been this sort of short-term, intensive, in 2 months, in 3 months, you're going to improve so much. And of course, if you do the work, then you might be able to improve in that short period of time. But the work is important. The amount of work isn't going to change. You're just going to sort of have to do more every single day. So not giving up, committing to it is definitely an important factor, I think. Okay, Takuma, any last words or any last thoughts?
Well, so one thing that you mentioned just now is about, like intense commitment for a couple months or a short period of time. Yes, that could dramatically change the situation that you're in today. But in the long run, at Spark Dojo, we try to develop people who want to become global professionals. That's a long-term thing. So you need to find the right level of commitment that you can keep, that's sustainable for a longer period of time. And what that means is that you need to find a way to increase the level of input and output in that language for communication, in our case English. And if English speakers are using 50% or more of their time to speak English, to catch up in terms of being able to communicate in English in a better way, if you only use it for 5% or 10% today, you're going to have to spend some time, make it 20%, 30%, and gradually increase that time in order to make it a part of your life. So having that sort of mentality that this is not just a one-time thing, it's not something you learn, but it's part of my life, it's going to be a part of my life in the future, because it will be. That's, I think, the right mentality to have.
Yeah, I think I found that the trainees who have integrated English training into their work and personal life have had the fastest development and growth rate. For example, trainees who schedule English training into their sort of work schedule as well,
like
to decide
between their commute or during lunchtime they do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Before lessons they do this, and then of course they come to our events, right? Those who come to our events, they usually get better much quickly.
Yeah, it's
much
not
more
even
quickly.
just about the opportunity itself, but the mindset of wanting to speak more and more English, wanting to make it a
finding
part
the
of their
opportunities,
life.
right?
Yeah. Okay, great. So I hope these tips and suggestions were helpful. We discussed many different topics related to English communication training. So please check out our other videos and please check out our Facebook page and website as well for our upcoming events. We hope to see you there. Bye.
Bye.